Welcome back to another video. Today I'm gonna do a sort of a ride with me. So I'll do this with Charlie. I've just put the boys out. I finished riding Storm, so I will do this with Charlie. So I think I'll just time lapse me sort of tacking her up, and then Mum's gonna come out and film my ride. And I'm just gonna sort of talk you through what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and hopefully you'll be able to see the result from when we get on to the end of the ride. Alright, so whilst I'm tacking her up, I thought I might just introduce her a little bit. If you guys don't follow me on Instagram, then you might not know who this is. So this is my little dressage pony, Charlie, or Storm in a Teacup. And I got her just over 12 months ago. And she is competing at medium currently. I'm not sure if that's the same all over the world, but basically her tests have got half pass, single changes, collected canter, extensions, all of that sort of stuff in it. So yeah, she's working quite well at that level at the moment. I'm really happy with where she's at. We've just moved her into a double bridle recently. And so yeah.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on.
So here I just start warming her up, just always in the walk, on a loose rein, still trying to get her to move into a contact. I don't just want to just have the reins, you know, and give it to her and let her wander around. So I keep her over her back and starting to stretch into that contact. So once I've walked her around for a little bit, done a couple of circles, I start to move her into a leg yield, but I make the leg yield quite steep. So I really focus more on getting her hindquarters to move over as opposed to letting her shoulders go forward. And yeah, we try and do this really steep. We do it off the inside and the outside leg. This just helps to get her listening to my leg moving on and off my leg. Obviously the right side is going to be a little bit harder, so I use my whip for that, which you'll see later. But yeah, it's just really about getting her stepping over, keeping her over her back, not letting the head come up, because she'll love to just go hollow through her back and lift her head up. So she has to stay in that contact, still on a long rein, but then really cross over with her hind legs. So here you can see I start to ask for the leg yield off of my right leg. So my stirrup is tied into, onto my girth. So that means when I shift my weight over to the outside, it drags my leg on. And then here again, you can see the right side. So I use my whip just behind my leg or on her bum to ask her to move over, accompanied with some rein aids that are all a bit, I won't bother explaining them. But yeah, basically all of my adaptions and then the whip mean that I'm able to get her to leg yield. So once we've done the walk, I get her into a trot on a long rein, again focusing on that transition, that she doesn't go hollow through the back and lift her head up through the walk-trot transition, keeping her in that contact. I start to move her around onto smaller circles, really get her around my leg, so opening my inside rein sort of almost out towards my knee and getting her to really step over with the hind legs. Then I will do a little bit of flexion in and out, just get her soft and supple both ways, but still on that longer rein. So you can see she likes to bring her head up a little bit, so you just sort of ask with the inside rein, ask her to come back down, which she did nicely. Here again, so now I'm back on that smaller circle that I was just talking about, really focusing on getting those hind legs to step over. This helps to then be able to send her forward, because otherwise she can get quite behind my legs. So we do all of this so that I am able to send her forward. So again here, now we're doing exactly the same thing in the canter. That transition is always a bit iffy with her. She sort of canters when she wants to canter. So that actually for her wasn't too bad. And so yeah, you can see she sort of fusses around with her head a little bit. So it's just trying to get her into that contact and then get her forward, because she'll get quite behind my leg in the canter. So trying to get her forward and over her back into that contact and really into my outside rein. That's the focus of our warm up in the canter. So Charlie's one of those horses that works better in the canter before she works in the trot. So you can see here I've picked her up in the canter. She takes just a little bit to get going. She likes to sort of fall into a bit of a 4-beat canter, and then she's able to sit up and start cantering properly. So here you can see she's sitting up a lot better now and a lot more consistent with her head. She just takes a little while to get going. So here I've moved her into a shoulder in, going across the diagonal. This is to prepare for the half pass. Going to the right, our half pass is worse than to the left, mainly because I can't keep the bend in my right leg. So there she dropped the canter. I was going to do canter, but she dropped it. So that's all right. We've picked up the other leg and we'll come back. But yes, so I really focus on the shoulder in that way. That way I'm able to get some bend. Otherwise we just end up in a bit of a leg yield. So started with the shoulder in, no travers, just started with the shoulder in. Now we've changed rein. Again, just trying to get her to sit on her bum, using the whip to ask the hindquarters to come under. Because again, even though only one of my legs is affected, obviously that's now my outside leg going this way that's affected. So I can't use that to help keep the canter going. Here, I've moved her into a little bit of half pass. You can see she's a little bit resistant against my hand, so I give the inside rein, ask her to come down. She didn't really that time, and then here she anticipated the change. So that's something that we're going to come back and work on. I made her trot then because she'd anticipated the change, so I gave her something else to think about. Another canter transition, which she actually did quite nicely for Charlie. And then, yeah, back onto a circle, so I wasn't going to rush the half pass, especially this way. We need to really set it up, otherwise I'm never going to get it. Again, you can see there she almost lost the canter, so there I have to use my whip to say, no, come on, keep the hind legs moving. And then here we tried for a little bit of the half pass. I didn't worry about the line to be so steep, so I came more over the centre line. You can see she just gets the bend towards the end there, which wasn't too bad, and then she almost lost the canter. But then here the change, then she didn't change behind, so again, I didn't quite get her straight enough going to that corner, so that was more rider error. I left that a little bit too late, so back onto a circle again. So lots of circles in between all of the lateral work for her, just so I can keep her under and keep her traveling. Otherwise, if I just do it over and over again, I just lose her and we waste our time. So again, back into half pass, going to the left. This time she almost loses her canter altogether. So again, use the whip. She's resistant against my hand, but then she fixes it towards the end there. So here I'm really happy with how she's sitting in the canter. She's getting so much stronger in the collected canter. So here I'm really, really, really happy with her position. Back into that half pass again, really trying to establish the shoulder in before I ask her to come over so I can keep the bend. There, she almost dropped the canter. So I did give her a crack with that outside whip. You saw her bring her bum up, but then she listened. Again, late with that inside hind leg in the change, but that way she finds it harder to change too. So, and then here she really nailed this half pass. Very, very happy with this. Kept the bend, kept her head where she should be, and then she waited for me for the change because she loves to anticipate that change. So really, really happy with that half pass. Again, almost dropped the canter, so get the whip on her. And then we came into some tempo changes. She didn't want to change there, so again got resistant against my hand, and then she did some weird little bouncy thing. I thought she'd changed back, but she didn't. So we sort of lost where we were going there a little bit, but that's okay. We had clean changes. Here she's sitting beautifully. I'm really, really, really happy with her here. And then the pilot got lost going across here, so she changed really nicely. Got a little bit wobbly there, which is then why we got lost. But I'm really, really, really happy with these changes. Really happy with her. And then this downward transition there was also really nice. So now we come back down to the trot work. Now she's had a canter. Again, you can see she's just a little bit fussy with her head to begin with. Really getting her hindquarters under her, getting her to sit up a little bit more because she can sit quite low in the contact sometimes. So getting her to bring her pole up and really sit on her bum, which here she's doing beautifully. Again, this is really hard for Charlie. She's built downhill, so this isn't the easiest of work for her, but she's getting so much stronger. So here I'm just focusing on keeping my inside shoulder back so that I have some sort of an inside leg on. Again, that strap that I was saying about that's got my stirrup attached to my girth means that when I shift my weight across, my leg is sort of pulled on. And then here I'm asking for some medium trot. Again, I've got to keep her straight, otherwise she'll bring her nose up. Was happy with that. Again, not as much as she can do, but if I ask for too much, I tend to lose it. She'll just bring her head up. And then there, inside leg on, getting around my inside leg, keeping those hind legs traveling through because she'll back off quite easily. And then again, asking for a little bit of medium trot. You can see she just starts to bring her nose out a little bit. So if she does that, I half halt, bring her back again. And yeah. And then here we just had a little play with the walk pirouettes. They have been something that we've been getting rubbish marks for in our test, and she just sort of pivots on a hind leg. She'll just grind a hind leg, so you can see she did it there. So I just give up with the pirouette, make her walk forward, and then ask for it again, which these actually for Charlie, I'm really happy with these. We kept moving. And I'm focusing more on these and almost putting into like a travers and thinking ride a small circle. So even though that's not what we don't want it to be a small circle, riding it that way means that we're actually starting to get the pirouette. Again, though, there you can see she ground a hind leg, but it's much better than it used to be. And then here, this is the start of our cool down. So I go back to a stretchy trot. Not always. Sometimes I'll just take them straight into a stretchy walk. It just sort of depends what they've done. But today she hadn't done too much trot work because we focused more on that canter half pass. So I put her back into the trot, and same as when we started, exactly the same idea, getting her to stretch evenly into both reins, not curling too much over the inside rein, and getting her to stretch down over her back into a contact. I've just finished on Charlie. I normally ride for about half an hour, sometimes 40 minutes, and then when we have a lesson it's 45. But yeah, normally at home I ride half an hour. I find that after that you sort of start to lose their attention, and then it creates more problems than if you'd left it a little bit sooner. So I can get what I need out of her in half an hour, and then it keeps her happy, keeps me happy. So yeah, she was great today. She's collecting a lot better in the canter than she used to. So now that she's doing that, I can sort of be a little bit stricter on like the angle of the half pass and things. Before it was just a matter of trying to keep her going forward. And so we kind of lost a bit of the bend and a bit of the angle trying to keep her forward. But if I hadn't, I was going to lose it all anyway. So yeah, now that she's a lot more collected, I am able to sort of be a bit stricter on that with her. Going to the right in the half pass, she still really struggles. Funnily enough, she can get it when we're at a comp. She goes over beautifully, like makes it easy. But at home, she seems to struggle with the line of half pass that we ride, like in the test and stuff. So I don't know if that's just I don't know, at comp she can do it, but at home she struggles with it. So, and that's because I haven't got the use of my right leg. I can't sort of get her around my inside leg to then push her across. Although my outside leg is stronger, I lose the bend really easily going to the right because I haven't got that leg to use the inside leg. So yeah, that's where we struggle. So actually our half pass to the left is miles better than to the right, even though my outside leg going to the left doesn't work. She just finds it easier. So yeah, I've got to sort of find a rein aid or something to help me get that bend, I think. So that's something that we're going to be working on, just trying to find an aid that works for her. I've never had a horse at this level before, so I've never ridden any of this stuff before I got her. So at least the lower level stuff I'd done on a few horses, and I kind of had an idea of what works and what doesn't. But yeah, this is sort of is new territory for the both of us. So yeah, it's just trial and error, and we're trying to find some aids that work. Yeah, then our changes were good. Really lost ourselves on the line of sequence changes. I don't know where we ended up. She did the changes nicely, but yeah, we ended up in a completely different spots where we're meant to be. Yeah, so anyway, I'm going to stop rambling now. I'm just walking her off. And yeah, I'll get off her, untack her, but I won't film any of that. That's sort of, you've seen that a few times now. So yeah, anyway, thanks for watching, and hopefully we'll get another video out to you soon.